when it comes down to it, I know how important getting married is to people, and that moment of being a bride. But
unbelievably,
at the end of the day, it's not brain surgery. It's not life-threatening. It
Right.
should be fun.
I think being silly and like unapologetically yourself and just being weird and childish is something that Jimmy and I like. We'll be skipping down the street in Chicago, like singing a Dora the Explorer song.
I never thought this is like what I would do with my life, or this would be my career path. I just kind of fell into it.
today on the Wedding Files, we have our guest, Jimmy Marolia from Strike and Rare Bridal Bar in Milwaukee. Hi, Jimmy. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good.
Hi,
Long time no
Angel.
see.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
My angel boy. Here
My
he is in
sweet
all of
baby
his
angel.
glory.
Oh,
I'm so
no.
excited.
I'm so
As you can
excited.
tell, I'm obsessed. I'm Jimmy's number one fan. We go
Stop
way
it.
back.
I'm your number one fan.
Oh,
we
well,
do.
Well, perfect. I love that for
I
us.
love that. I'll be your number 2 fan then. How's
Perfect.
that?
I appreciate
can't
that.
take number 1 because that's already been taken on both sides. So, Jimmy, tell us about the bridal business. How did you get started? What made you jump from your old career into this new one? Well,
Sure,
not new
yeah.
now, but you've been in quite a few years.
I have. I've been doing it for over 10 years here in Milwaukee, which has been
crazy.
really cool. I'll be like 100% honest. Like it isn't, I never thought this is like what I would do with my life, or this would be my career path. I just kind of fell into it. A friend of mine was working at a local boutique here in Milwaukee, and she, Sarah.
Sarah, yes. Shout out, Sarah.
Shout out to Sarah, birthday twins.
Mm-hmm.
But she was working there, and her and I had worked together previously in a retail setting, and I was looking for as many part-time jobs as I could because student debt was real. So I was like, yeah, that sounds good. It works with my schedule. And yeah, that turned into like a part-time weekend consultant job at that boutique, and then that grew into full-time, and I was there managing for a long time, about 6 years.
Was that a clothing store or was it
It's
a bridal store?
Where me and Sarah originally worked was a shoe store. But,
A shoe store. Okay.
but
All right.
yes. So started in bridal, then though part-time, like I said, and it grew into a full-time position just because, I don't know, I felt like a really good like click fit for me.
And
then
you started with Aaron at Miss Ruby's, right?
I did start at Miss
did,
Ruby.
okay,
That's
all
where I
right.
started, and it's a great store right here in Milwaukee. Like I said, I was with them for about 6 years, and then
Wow.
I kind of stepped back and started to just do something different. And when I did that, Jackie actually reached out to me that another boutique here in Milwaukee was interested in meeting with me.
Because he's a star. Like, he'll like be very humble about it. But Jimmy, it has this way of making you feel so comfortable. He will be honest with the bride, but not to the point where it's making a bride feel bad about themselves.
Right.
If you look on, just search his name for bridal, you'll find all these reviews about how incredible he is. And I think for me, when we were working together, we just were drawn together. I think we both are very childish in our...
Nobody makes me laugh like Jackie.
Same.
Like,
I think Jackie makes everybody laugh. She's just a comedian that doesn't even know she's a comedian.
I just like,
The things,
for
yeah.
life, I look at like the childhood, like playfulness and stuff that makes me laugh. And I think being silly and like unapologetically yourself and just being weird and childish is something that Jimmy and I like. We'll be skipping down the street in Chicago, like singing a Dora the Explorer song and just like laughing, and everyone's looking at us like we're crazy.
But we live in our own little crazy
Yeah.
bubble.
But Jackie and Jimmy, don't you think that particular personality is just who you are?
100%.
And
Yeah.
you take that and you add to it a little bit, and that's why you're so good at what you do. That's why you have great reviews. That's why people love working with you.
We have a light
That's
aura
why probably
about us.
every bridal boutique would probably want a Jimmy in their space.
I'm
And that's
telling
not
you,
easy to duplicate.
my stores across the country will literally say, can we have you come in for the weekend and style people? Like a travel styling person, because he's just so good at what he does. And he'll be honest. Like, there's stuff in my collection. So to back it up a little bit, when I go to market, I asked Jimmy a couple years ago, like, I keep growing. I can't do market by myself anymore. Is this something that you would be willing to do? So he talked to the owner of the store he's currently at, and she's like, yeah, 100%. Like, go
Abby,
for it.
right?
Abby,
Yes.
yeah.
Love Abby. Abby's fantastic.
She's
Abby is
amazing.
fantastic.
That owns Strike and Rare.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she was like, yeah, cool. It doesn't interfere. Like, he's supporting, me. We've been friends forever. And it's crazy because there's certain products he won't work for certain stores. He'll sit there and ask them part questions. What dress designers do you carry? Stuff like that. And so he'll be like, oh, I don't think this product is going to work. And I don't get offended. That's why there's not a million, but hundreds of different products in my collection that he's able to really zone in. And I think that goes back to brides too.
Totally.
You
There's
look at
something
them
right
and you
for
look at
every
their
store.
style and you're like, okay, I know this is working. I know what's not working. So I think you've become such a just gem in the industry for Milwaukee.
Well, and I think, and I really do, I believe, like, doing what I do, it's really hard to not enjoy it. It's such a fun job. Like, truthfully, like, when it comes down to it, I know how important getting married is to people and, that moment
So,
of being a bride. But
unbelievably.
at the end of the day, it's not brain surgery. It's not life-threatening. It
Right.
should be fun. And that's, what I mean?
Completely. And what you're saying is so correct because, even in my business, and I'm sure that all of us, maybe not Jackie so much now, but when she was one-on-one with people
Sure,
selling
yeah.
them, but we become therapists too.
Yeah, you hear a lot.
You do become a therapist and you care about the people that you're working with because it is the most important day of their life.
Totally.
Maybe not so much for the groom, but the bride it is.
Well, and
But I
just
think-
want...
And it is for the groom, don't get me wrong, but more for the
Totally.
bride.
Well, and especially in the experience that I see and work with them in,
Yeah.
I feel like. And at the end of the day, like, the most important thing to me is that every bride that I work with feels authentic, meaning that, like, she
I
feels
love
like
that.
herself.
I love that.
Because I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to be a bride.
No.
It's about being you,
Right,
And I think
right.
that's what I
So
really
with that
enjoy.
being said, say you have a difficult guest in the bridal party. How do you handle that? Because when I was a stylist,
Yeah.
I would have everything from people poking at the bride saying, okay, we need to lose some weight. I mean, there would be some atrocious behavior or I don't think that's the one for you.
Right,
I feel like
right.
you have to
Yeah.
become the bride's advocate. So how do you
Absolutely.
handle those situations where it's okay, you can feel the tension and there's too many opinions?
Totally. I have to just say, first and foremost, like, shout out. I mean, all the boutiques down here in Milwaukee are lovely. I've worked at all of them. They're all great places. What I love about where I'm at right now at Strike and Rare is we're such an inclusive and welcoming environment that it is. Like,
I love that,
kind of
Jimmy.
in the branding, you know what I mean?
Brilliant,
When you
brilliant
walk through
concept.
the doors. And Abby's done such a good job of making that and curating that
Amazing.
as the brand that we have. But I think it's about addressing, you know what I mean, taking the experience and really guiding the group and letting them know from the get-go that, like, this is kind of about the bride.
Smart.
And I like to address people in a way that lets them know, you know what I mean? We're just kind of like, this isn't about anything else besides making her feel great.
Yeah.
And I think when you kind of from the jump off before they even try on a dress, you know what I mean? Let them know what's going on. It's easier to mitigate those situations when they pop up.
Right.
I'm big on telling everyone when someone makes an announcement about their opinion about something that we're all allowed to have opinions, and that's what makes the world a great place. Unfortunately, the bride's is the only one that matters.
Not here, bitch.
So you're allowed to speak your opinion. That's
Yeah.
okay. It just
Right,
doesn't matter.
right.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily relevant.
Yeah.
Jimmy, do you ever have a circumstance, and not necessarily at Strike or
Sure.
just in your career, where you've really just had to take a bride and kind of unnoticeably walk her into the back or whatever space
Sure,
and just
yeah.
say, hey, don't worry about them. It's okay. We're going to make this work great for you.
For sure. You know, you have
Yeah.
to, like you said, it is
The
kind of like
compassion
listening
you
to
have.
people, and I'm big on not even necessarily what people are saying, but you can tell how someone's feeling by their body language or the way that they're moving
So true.
around and tugging
So
at
true.
something. You're like, girl, you don't feel comfortable, or what you're hearing isn't making you feel comfortable. And I'll say the minute I always address with brides when I'm with them privately, I'm like, if you're not having fun doing this, then let's stop. Don't do it, because finding your wedding dress should be a really fun, magical part. It shouldn't be work.
I love that line.
So
I love
if,
that.
If it ain't working,
So
let's
true.
drop it.
I
Come
would
back another
always-
day. You
which-
know what I mean? Go think about it,
Exactly.
drink about it, relax.
Think about it, drink about
and come
it.
back when
And
you're ready
maybe
to just
leave
have
the
fun.
14 bridesmaids at home next time.
And I think that's a lesson that people sometimes learn, especially when I see brides where they're like, yeah, I did the whole thing with 19 people, and my dad's
Have you really
ex-wife's
had that many?
grandma was there too. And
Sister's
it's like,
cousin,
okay, well,
yeah.
they really need to involve. All right. But,
I would always say too to the brides, you're not going to offend me. Like it's okay. Even
would
with
say,
my product line, if somebody doesn't like something, I will literally say, you are not going to offend me. Like, let's try something different that works for you. That's why there's difference in style and opinions and stuff like that. You can have it being the bride, but I think the biggest thing brides need to understand when you're going into these appointments, you really need to curate who you're going to bring with you and who is going to build you up and give you an honest opinion without making you feel bad. Don't bring anybody out of feeling guilty that you have to bring them. Like you can make it the experience you want to make it as your day. It's one time to be selfish. You don't have to be a bridezilla. You can just blame it on the store. Say they're only allowing 5 people.
And I think there's something really special about independently owned bridal businesses, such as Abby, Strike, and Rare
Strike,
Beauty
at
Bar.
Rare. I mean,
because I feel like it's just like having my own store for years. The compassion that you truly have for that person, because they're going to see you over and over, or they're going to recommend their friend. You're coming back in. Very different than that of a chain bridal store.
For sure.
I've had people go to a chain bridal store when I lived in Chicago. There were a couple of them. A couple of my friends went, and they're like, "Oh my God!" They tell you everything looks good on you. Like seriously, somebody just tell me something looks like shit.
But I
on
also
me.
think too, it's how the small businesses handle training with employees as well.
I agree.
I think you have to really look at the bride as a person rather than a dollar sign. Of course, we all want to make sales. Like that is
100%.
the lights need to stay on.
100%. But also, don't push to the point where they're not going to feel comfortable regardless. They're going to say to their friends, "Oh my God, they're so pushy. Like I felt like I had to buy a dress." Like the amount of people after would say, I was at the store and I just felt so pressured into buying it and I ended up buying it and now I have to look for a second. Don't do that.
Right.
Like,
And Jackie,
don't do that.
Interesting you hit on that, because my philosophy has always been everybody that walks in your door has other friends that are going to get married.
Absolutely. Even if
Period.
they don't get their
in
dress
my
in your
business
store.
and yours, and I'm going to treat everybody with the utmost respect. I'm going to be completely upfront with them and transparent, because guess what? If they don't rent my venue or they don't buy your dress, they have tons of other girlfriends that they hang out with. And what do girls like to do when they're in a group together? Gossip.
They like to
Talk
yap
about the experiences they
Yap.
had. And if they say, I went into this store and this guy, Jimmy, it just wasn't the dress that I wanted, but you got to go to him.
No, I've absolutely.
You got to go to him.
I've gotten so many brides.
I'm sure
to
you
come
have.
into Strike for that, and honestly, just from doing this for such a long time, even brides that are like, "Oh, I saw that you work here now, but you helped me when you worked at White Dress, or you helped
That's
me.
so
You helped my
cool.
friend when you worked at Miss Ruby, so I knew that she had to come and see you. So that's been really
What's
cool.
the difference too? Sorry, not to cut you off.
No, not at all.
Between Strike and Rare now. Now I know, but I want for the listeners who are kind of curious about the two
I was curious too. I
places.
want to know the exact difference.
For sure. So Strike is definitely, I think, like the idea behind it is like for the modern cool bride, which really is every girl, truthfully. But Abby's super focused on statewide exclusivity for the designers we carry, so you won't see the things that we carry at other stores in the state, as well as kind of that little bit more edge. We offer some like cool different designs, like we have black dresses, colorful dresses, just like more edgy kind of styles.
Which, for the record, I just delivered a black veil with fabulous tulle gloves for a bride in April.
I'm excited for that. Where Rare definitely has every kind of dress, but it is Wisconsin's only exclusively plus size bridal store.
And I have to tell you that when me being in that business, and I always at my clothing stores, it was so important for me. And I would get frustrated when I couldn't find things that were for larger busty girls. And I did. As time went on, I found stuff. Yeah. And I think the most rewarding thing for me personally was when a client came in and she could shop with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she could shop with her friends. And when I heard Abby was doing that, I'm like, okay,
It's brilliant.
She got a gold mine.
Yeah.
She has got a gold mine, and I know I send a lot of my clients over there. My curvy girls.
Yeah.
My curvy girls.
And what are the
I said, you
size-
know what? I said, don't go to so and so. Go over to Strike
Or Rare.
or Rare.
What's the size range at Rare?
So Rare's size range is 18 to 34.
Oh, that's
so all of our
34?
all of our
amazing.
That's
samples are-
incredible.
yeah.
Because most stores only go up to 24, which can
Wow.
be very defeating.
And we focus on designers there that also like have an unlimited size chart, if that makes sense. So like really,
Yeah.
there's no one that can't find their dress there.
So cool.
I love
so
that.
Cool.
We
And
just
have you
celebrated
found-
2 years. So
Yay!
that's really exciting. Yeah.
Shout out.
Cool. Have you found a lot of have you all found a lot of success with that store?
Absolutely. It's
Absolutely.
been really, and again, from working in this industry for a long
Yeah.
time, it's been so nice to have a location in a spot where like something where sometimes people you could tell they might be dreading the experience just based
Right,
on 'cause we're such a
1000%.
numbers based culture that it can become, you know what I mean, like break your self confidence.
Yeah.
Well, and I also
Yeah.
think
And to know that
I get
everything
it,
is
I
going to
get
work,
it.
even if it's not your taste and you
Right,
don't love it,
right.
you're going to be able to try on and find something. You know
well,
what I
and
mean?
women
I love
already
that.
dread the experience because we are a numbers culture, and bridal is always larger. Their
Well,
numbers,
and
their
also,
size charts.
Just the
It's
whole
who
experience
cares.
is put yourself up on the judgment box and let everyone tell you what they think about what you're
Yeah.
wearing. It can be nerve wracking.
100%.
Right.
So
And that's why I think Abby has done a great job. I mean, everybody who I've met through Strike or Rare, they are so approachable and so fun. And I think
have
that's
a great
why
team. Yeah.
you have just been thriving because you can fit in with those people and they're actually your friends where you can
We have a good time.
Not saying that other places weren't, but I think you guys align on so many different things in life.
Yeah, I agree. I love
And I
where
think
work.
that's why you and I vibed. I mean, we would laugh about the craziest stuff.
Hold on. I just thought of something. Don't you two have this little prince and princess accent that you guys do to each other? Leave messages?
Our
Am I
Kate-
correct?
Our Kate Middleton.
we send a lot of voice
Kate
notes to
Middleton.
each
I
other.
think Jackie was telling me
pretending to
about
be-
this. Jackie, can we hear that voice?
Well, first of all, Jimmy's the queen, literally, or princess of it. And I'll tell you how it
I don't-
started.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
it
foolish.
is
So
foolish.
when Kate Middleton, and this is like sad,
That's fun.
literally, when
Yeah,
we think back,
it's-
Kate Middleton was missing for a while from the press, okay? And so we come to find out, like, this was after we found out, or before we found out, she was diagnosed with cancer. So she was missing from all these events. So Jimmy and I came up with this
not
theory over tequila in Chicago that
We had
they
our best
were
ideas.
hiding her, like something happened, like she had an affair or something happened where she needed help. So what we started doing is sending voice messages to each other and saying, "This is Kate
Can
Middleton."
we hear a little bit about it?
Hello, this is Kate
Hi,
Middleton.
it's me, Princess Kate. I am okay, but I do need you to send me a Venmo
I met
at Jimmy Dash.
I met Jimmy on the
My
streets of
funds
Chicago.
aren't liquid. This is me. Cheerio, Prince George, Prince William.
So randomly,
Oh my
we'll
God.
just still send
We still do
like
it.
I thought I was going to
messages.
embarrass both of you.
No,
Forget
I don't-
it. I didn't even embarrass you.
Listen, I can't get embarrassed. I mean,
love it.
We have
So
too much fun being just
I mean,
silly.
if you went through our phones and listened to our voice memos, someone would be like, "Oh my God, these two need to be committed."
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
they're so foolish. Yeah, so Kate Middleton. And I think like stuff like that, we would always be foolish. Like I remember this time when we were working together and Jimmy was actually my manager at the time. And we had this meeting and they were talking about, and this is a real thing, I'm not even joking. It was a serious meeting and they were talking about this new product that had come out where it's like a cloth type bag you put over your head. I'm not joking.
Was it like the dress we were talking about in the first episode? Would it have matched the dress?
Possibly. It's like a white cloth garment bag you put over your head. Exactly. So try to stay serious in a meeting. Like, hello.
serious, okay.
So you put it over your head so you won't get makeup on the dresses. So it
yeah.
was a vendor selling this thing.
I had those at my store, but they just, I had those at my
I
store.
was losing it, laughing so hard. Like I literally couldn't like keep. the other manager thought I was making fun of her, and I was not at all. Like, I just am a child. I had no.
So kind of like pin the tail on the donkey.
I mean, and all the other girls and Jimmy were looking at me laughing because I was like trying to hold my nose, snorting, laughing. And then everyone busts out laughing. And then she was upset that she felt like because I was older than everyone looks to me. And I was sitting here making fun of her, which I swear I wasn't. But the funny part about it is that one of my stores, Modern Dress in Iowa, recently sent me something that someone was asking her in her group about these garment bags. And she literally took a plastic bag, put over her head, sent me a video and goes, girl, do you think I need to buy these? These are the new bags not to get makeup on your dresses. And I mean, Jimmy the next day had to have a conversation being a manager and being like, listen, girl, like,
yeah,
I know you didn't mean any harm, but so-and-so was a little upset that you were laughing throughout her presentation. I just have to tell you because it's my job as a manager, but I'm like, okay, I'll try to like take things seriously. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. Like I'll say, okay, but come on. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I was just losing it. I was just laughing.
That's funny. And when you lose it, you lose it. Jimmy, question for you. Yeah. In your experience of all these years in business working with brides, what is the most memorable experience you have?
Besides meeting me.
It could be with being in your space with the bride, with whomever, the owners, Jackie, whatever.
Well, I mean, that's
what's
number
the most
one.
memorable? Yeah, tell me.
I will say I do think it relates to. I think that first time coming to work at Bridal Market with you, like, it was so exciting and memorable to get to be able to see a different side of the business.
I see. Makes
so
sense.
Working with vendors, and it's like then seeing both sides of like working with brides and then working with stores who are working with brides, which is a position that I'm in. So I felt like I could relate to it.
Yeah.
But also to see like firsthand, like you, like operating your business and just being a boss and like how successful and talented you are was like a really like special, fun experience. And now I've been able to do it so many more times, and I'm so happy to be able to support you
really
in your
cool.
business.
And Jimmy,
this brought us together.
It really did. I sometimes feel like I have imposter syndrome. Like I'm like, when I message him, like, do you think you can maybe be interested in market? Like, I'll pay you to help me. And he's like, are you kidding? Of course. And I feel like when he's there, I feel like it's almost like a bother, but I know it's not a bother to you, but I'm like, I'm putting somebody out to help me in my business, like, which is great. I mean, obviously,
absolutely,
you're a contracted employee, but you have so much confidence in my vision and what you're selling, and also supporting me as an owner is like, I can't even put into words.
I think that's beautiful. And, the impact that a good friend could have on you in business, and, maybe just furthers you as a person of what you want to do. And I'm just curious. I said, with all this talk and sharing how great you're at what you do, and I don't know that really firsthand. I know that through Jackie.
Yeah.
And she shared a lot with me about you, especially more so now because of having you on the show. And you were the first person that came to her mind. So, I have a very good friend, Alex, my good friend Alex, and he is the head stylist for Lancome. The top guy. He and his husband live in Chicago, and Alex Sanchez. And
yes, I know him.
You know Alex? Okay.
Jackie knows every gay man in the tri-state area.
Alex is
in America.
The face of Lancome. But my question is that you've got the looks too. You've got the style. Have you, I know you briefed on it quickly about, how stores would want Jimmy to come in from other, have you ever thought of opening your own company where you just travel and you share styling tips with other brides, and you host a champagne bridal day at stores in Rodale Drive, high-end boutiques throughout the country? Has that ever crossed your mind?
For sure. I mean, I've definitely thought of like that as like, could I do this? I can do it here. Why couldn't I just go and do it somewhere else?
Phenomenal.
And I never say never to anything. You know what I mean? I will say like, I love where I'm at so much right now. Like I've loved what I've done for such a long time. Sure. And I really, I'm so happy where I am doing it right now. what's been a constant that I have to shout out to, because it relates to you, Jackie, is like I've been so lucky and fortunate to work for small female owned and operated businesses, and to be able to support them and to see them thrive is like, I think, really awesome in the bridal industry. But to answer your question about doing something like that, yeah, I never know what the future holds. I think that could be a really fun way to do it. And I also think
I'm just kind of hinting at it.
Why do you want to be an investor?
what I would get
I
from
would totally be an investor
that
in it, for sure,
experience-
without a doubt. We wedding files. The more we grow, the more people we're going to have on from other states.
But it would be interesting to see how brides are different and the same in different areas of the country, because I love seing those correlations and differences.
That's cool.
I
Well,
find
and we
it
see
very
that at
interesting.
market too.
Yeah,
we see
it's so
different
fascinating.
personalities.
And you see so many different things. So when we're talking about seeing different brides in other countries, etc., what are the latest trends like in the wedding industry? That's really what I wanted to hit on.
Sure. I mean, I think what we're seeing right here that's like
2025,
very popular is you're going to see lots of basque waist. I think they're very much back in, really dramatic, voluminous skirts. Lots of like architectural details, like exposed boning or like really formed like corset cups are like very, very popular still.
That's all over New York Instagram right now, because New York bridal
And that's
market's
where
happening.
Strike is. So I'm seeing
What
it
about
all.
colors? Are we still with white, or are we okay with other colors?
No, I mean, I think there's tons of other colors that we're seeing. I think what's most popular is like colorful florals on dresses. I still get requests.
Really? On a wedding dress?
Yeah.
Colorful florals. Okay.
Girls are still asking for. We get lots of brides for black dresses, which I think
That's
is becoming
huge.
more and more
You're
normal.
so right.
You know what I mean?
For
Or
the
like
last
not
few
as
years, I feel
uncommon.
like it's just become
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
had
do a ton of black accessories from gloves to veils
to belts, to
I love
belts,
that.
head
I love
pieces.
that.
I've done custom black belts, not karate, but
So
black
what
belts
about
for
backless?
wedding.
Are we seeing a lot of backless right now?
I
Because
mean,
I know that was big a
I
couple
think
of years ago.
everyone
the
loves a
drop
low back.
completely open back.
I think everyone loves an open back, but I think with these new trends, like the really structured, defined, like almost Baroque style, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
That's
Dresses,
so cool.
You gotta have a
Bridgerton.
high back to
Bridgerton
get
So
brought
are we
that
talking
back.
like more wider gowns?
Yeah.
We are.
I think
We are.
bigger skirts are definitely becoming more and more popular. Like the bigger the better. Because I think a lot of girls too really, I think a few years ago it was more talked about, but I think a lot of girls now are doing a second dress that
Right,
they're
right.
changing at the reception to just party. So they're going to wear the most dramatic thing they can to walk down the aisle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, question for you: What, as a curvy girl, as a curvy girl looking for a dress, what style would you recommend? Like, what works on a curvy girl
Yeah.
from top to bottom?
For me, I mean, and I think, again, it's all how you view your body and what makes
Okay.
you
100%.
feel awesome. But I love, like, on a bustier bride, and I think it's always hard to, because it's not what you would think, but a sweetheart strapless neckline usually looks beautiful on someone who's
So
busty.
right.
But I think there's a level of discomfort or unsureness because, when you go to, like, the Gap or J. Crew and you buy a tube top or whatever, it's not going to have structure. It's not going to have
No.
support.
Right,
it's not going
right.
to fit. And you're going to be like, ew, I hate wearing this.
Yeah.
But in a wedding dress where you have all that really nice structure to, define your body and show off the things that make you feel comfortable and confident, I love a strapless sweetheart ball gown for a curvy girl.
I agree with that. And I think
Fantastic.
the thing too, when brides come in, they have this idea of what they like and what they don't like. But I think for being a stylist, you have to advocate not only with the group they come in, but for them as well. So to say, hey, you won't offend me. Let's try this on. I think this is something that you might like. They'll try it on. And 9 times out of 10, they're ending up saying, I never thought I would have liked this dress.
1,000%.
I think it's so important, like from my job, like I obviously want people when they come in with a vision or like, oh, here's my Pinterest, this is what I like, this is what I think I like. I think it's important to show them that vision.
Absolutely.
But I also think it's really important, and I encourage this to every bride, is I'm like, come in just ready to put anything on and see how it
explore
makes you
your
feel.
options.
Right, completely
Because you'll
open
know
mind.
when
'cause
you put it
never
on if
know
it
what-
makes you feel great.
Right. And some of those last dresses that, like you said, they would think they would like.
Totally.
They put
The
it on
same
and they're
with the
like,
veil.
This is it. This is what I want for my wedding.
It
Thank you,
happens
Jimmy.
more often than you think that a bride ends up with something that is the opposite of what she
Right,
thought she would
right.
want. And it also happens a lot that the bride does in fact pick the first dress that she.
So
Yes.
Jimmy, are you at both? We're going to wrap this up
Yeah.
in a few minutes. Are you at both the stores all the time? Are you at Strike and
Yes, I'm a stylist at both stores. I'm primarily at Strike for the most
You
part,
are.
but I do work at Rare frequently. Or
So
when
if
we need coverage, yeah.
if a client says, you know what, I listened to the podcast, I'd love to go see Jimmy. Which store does he work at? You would go over to that store to meet them.
Baby,
if they
I'll go
were coming
anywhere
in.
for you. Yes,
I
either
love
one.
that. I love it. And what is the address for Strike?
Strike is 320 East Clybourne Street. We're located in the Central Standard
You
Distillery
are,
building.
right, on
Yep,
the
So
third-
you
up on
can
the
get a
third floor.
cocktail after
get a
you
cocktail.
get your
Yeah,
drink.
right,
Enjoy
right.
that rooftop.
Dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And
better
the
to have
rooftop.
the cocktails before you try on the dresses.
Well, I don't know if I would recommend that.
Yeah,
I think I would.
okay.
I mean, you do you. I mean, your body, your choice. But I would recommend a clear mind going in, so you're not
Probably true. Probably
dissuaded.
true. And then Rare is located
326 West Florida. We're right down the block from where we're recording.
326.
Yeah.
Yeah, right where Strike used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. Great location too. Easy parking.
Yeah,
Super easy parking. Just kind of pull up and you're there.
absolutely.
What else? I mean, this has been great.
Oh, I do wanna
learning
ask you, like, your
about
thoughts.
the business even more so.
What do you think on the Pantone color of the year, the Mocha Mousse? Are you?
That's what I was
fan?
wondering.
I mean, I'm wearing like brown is probably my favorite color. So
I know, but
any shade
that's
of
like a
brown.
little bit more like, I don't know, like caramely-ish.
Yeah, I
where it's
love
not
it.
like I'm a big fan. People are like, brown, come on. But I feel like if you find like the right
I think
shade
it's
to
a
go with
great
gold,
neutral.
but obviously I'm a gold girly.
Yes,
I love it.
same.
So would brown, because I'm picturing a fall wedding with a beautiful Baroque dress and a brown, like that color
Yeah.
sash or accessories somewhere on the body.
I
Could look
wouldn't vibe
super
that.
hot.
I mean, I think it would.
Maybe a hairpiece. Maybe
I would
just
think
a very
maybe
thin
hair
piece.
for sure,
The brown?
shoes.
No,
Or like your groom in like a really nice.
I think
dark
the
the groom.
brown
I love
velvet
that
suit.
brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Very
me
cool.
personally, I'm not a color block person.
Okay.
So I would want to have like the brown in the accessories. I don't want you to look
Okay, I
back
see
on
what you're saying.
your pictures.
The brown
and-
in the access, like a arm piece or.
It could
Yeah.
date it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Makes sense.
otherwise, if you put a sash, that can date it.
Okay. All right. I was just asking.
So like floral, like, stuff
yeah.
like that.
So I hope we get to have you on again, Jimmy. This has
Yeah,
been
You're
great.
this is so
just
much
an
fun.
icon.
You're such a great
I love
personality
you.
and such a great vibe. I know the women just are like all over you when they come in.
I'm very
You know,
lucky
I'm
to be
sure
doing what I'm doing.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you've got a huge. I know you've got a huge following. So Jimmy Marolia, thank you so much.
Thanks
Jackie,
for having me, you guys.
I love
it's
it.
just my pleasure. I wish we could just spend 24/7 together.
I mean, I think
Yeah,
that
maybe
wouldn't
we'll
be the
get
best
married.
for our
Maybe
mental
we'll get
health.
married on a live one day.
Oh, which
lavender
we'll,
wedding,
We'll talk
lavender
about
wedding.
that
Okay.
next time. Lavender weddings.
Well,
It's
I
like
might
a new
pass on that.
trend.
All
But I
right.
don't think I would want a lavender wedding with you. I think I would want a lavender wedding with Jimmy.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I love
All
you,
right.
but Jimmy has
Anyway,
my heart.
wrap it
Love
up.
you,
The
baby.
Wedding Files, and we look forward to
Tune in
many
next
more
time.
fun
Follow
podcasts
us on
with
social
many more
media.
guests and the beautiful, talented Jackie Baruta.
And the wonderful Clay.
Ah, you're a sweetheart. I love you. Okay.
Thanks, guys.